Hello and welcome back. Now we're going to move into the next one, which is a sales data set. Now we've already got everything in place. We've generated the whole data set, and we're going to learn on how to use pivot tables to be able to answer some of the questions that we have generated, and just very few questions we've generated from this data set as well. Now we're just going to go over to the next question on the sheet 2. So if you click on the sales questions, you can get to see that I've got 4 questions that have been generated. And these are one of the reasons why pivot tables is a whole lot. Now, if you look at this, sometimes having to picture if, for example, you say the first question says, which product generated the highest sales in January 2022? When you look at this, sometimes it might be very confusing, like, okay, how am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to do that? Okay, if you want to then do a plus sign to start picking up, it could take forever. It could take a whole lot. And imagine if you got like thousands of rows again and hundreds of columns. That would also take a whole lot of time to go one by one. And that is what pivot table helps you to do. So pivot table takes off that stress from you and tries to make things much easier for you to summarize it, and then you can use that to answer whatever question that you need to. Now, before we do that, we will have to ensure that you need to take off. Before we do that, we're going to take off the first row because we want the first row to be our headers, okay? So I just had to put that sales data set there just to make you understand that that's exactly what we're doing, so that pivot table can obviously work very well. So we're going to take off this, and we're going to take off this, and we're going to delete the row. Remember, we already touched on how to delete rows in module 1. So we're going to delete that row. Now, before we move into anything, one of the things I always advise my students is to ensure that every formatting that you need to do, you could just do it now before you do your pivot tables, and ensure to convert your tables, convert them to power tables. It's very necessary. One of the benefits which I've explained in my module 1 is that if you have a row added or you have something new, you don't have to change your pivot table source again and all that. It just updates everything. It's easy. It keeps your work organized. I can't stop stressing that. It's really important. And one of the ways I'm going to say basically convert your table is you could just highlight. So you could either highlight the whole of this, or you could highlight by column, anyone is fine. And then you can say Control T. Very easy. Now what this is saying is it's saying A to F. So it's highlighting from A to F, and it's using an absolute referencing. Once you see a $sign, just know that it's an absolute referencing. Ensure that here is tick that says my table has got headers, because we do have headers. If this is not ticked, Excel will read those headers, which is on row 1, as part of the same values, and it will be very hard to tell which falls under which. Do you get what? So sometimes it might come unticked. Ensure that you tick it. So you click OK. Now, once you're done with that, this converts to tables. So you can see it's in a table format. And the colors also changes as well. If you also want to change the colors, you are free to change the colors if you want. All you just need to, you can come here, click on this, it changes. Click on this, it changes. You don't even need to highlight them. If I feel like I want this, once you click on any of this, all you just need to do is come here to the table design, just in case if it's not open on the tab, and then you can select whatever one. But for the purpose of this course, I will just choose this one. Okay, and you can just take it back up. Now that you've put your data set in a table format, now what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this. And we're going to, first of all, before we highlight that, let me change, this text to black so that it'll be more visible. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, so I'll just change it to black. Okay. So let me do it like this. Yeah. Change to black. Black. Okay, so I just wanted to do that so it becomes very visible, because I wouldn't know if the white, if that would be visible enough. So now that it's done, I'm going to just convert this. Let me just save this first of all. Always remember, whenever you put something, ensure to save. So you either save like this or you say Control S. Then you click on Insert. That's another tab we're also going to be looking at in this module. So you click on Pivot Table, you can see. So it's when there's a drop down there, it asks you, do you want to pick this from a table or range? Now remember, we had to convert this from a table, convert our normal data entry to a power table. And it's asking, do you want to pick it from a table or do you want to pick it from a range? You know, range basically is when you select a particular stuff and then that's just all you want to do. That maybe this is just what I want for my pivot table. I don't want this one, and that's what the range is all about. Then it's asking you, or do you want to pick from an external data source? Maybe, you know, you're picking up this pivot table, I'm sorry, the data from a different source. It's not here in Excel, it's from a different source, and then it will just import it directly to Excel, and then you can convert that to pivot table. But for purpose of this, we'll just be using the first one. Okay, so you know, that's like if I wanted it as a cell, but I don't want it as a cell. So I'm going to choose everything as a range. Rather, I want the whole column. Okay, so you just highlight the whole column, left click, right, and then drag. And then pivot table. Now it's going to ask you, you can actually select the table. So it comes as table 1. You can also either put this on a new worksheet, the pivot table to be on a new worksheet, meaning that it will just create a new sheet for you, or an existing worksheet. If you want it to be an existing worksheet, if I put it here and select here and I say okay, my pivot table appears in the same worksheet, but it is preferable to do your pivot tables in a different worksheet so it's more cleaner and you don't get confused with your data and your pivots and all that. So I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to go back to insert. I just wanted to show you that. Click on pivot table and I'm going to say yes, insert this in a new worksheet. You can decide not to put this for now. And I'm going to click on OK. So this is how it looks like, your pivot table. One thing I always like to use, I just like to always rename it. I like to give good naming conventions to my work. It just makes it tidy, makes me understand. And anyone who's going through my my data, you know, my spreadsheet or report can basically understand which one is the data, which one is my pivot, which one is which. Now you can see that when we clicked here, when you click here, you get to see the pivot table fields. Okay. Now there are some times that maybe for one reason or the other, like let's say you might mistakenly exit this, and then now when you click on this, you might just not see the stuff because you actually clicked it off. Excel has interpreted that, oh, maybe you don't want it, and it clicks those field off. Don't panic, okay? Don't panic. It's not gone. It's just hidden. One way you can do is just click, make sure you click on the pivot table, right? This is what the pivot table canvas, if I would like to call it, looks like, okay? So this is like the pivot table canvas, if I would say. Right click on it. So just right click on it, and then it will show you show field lists, okay? Once you click on show field list, this comes out. Now, this is what a pivot table looks like. So it's got the canvas that whatever you select here, it appears here. So this is like the showroom or a canvas or the showroom, if I would like to call it. And then this is you know, your data sets, the date, the product, the sales amount, customer aid, all these things are gotten from your data. It did not appear from anywhere. It's gotten from your column. That's your column headers. You know, that's why we had to make sure we tick to say our table has got a headers. Okay, so that's just what it is. It's just putting up all your headers here. Okay, now we've got filter, columns, rows, and value. I want to explain that in a bit. Now filters are, if you want to put something, let's say for example you've got a large data set. Let me put something like let's say region. Okay, now, if I put a region, because on the region from here, on the data, you can see that we have east, west, south. So imagine if this region was, let's say, a country, right? So we've got countries like, for example, Nigeria, which I'm proud of. We've got UK, which is my second home. We've got US, you've got Australia, Germany. Like, just imagine if you got the whole country in this world, you know, listed up, for example, it will be mad to just go through this table, right? And maybe I just want to specify by just 1 or 2 countries, or 3, 5, or even just one itself. All right. So you see why I say pivot tables are summary tables. It breaks down large chunks of data into very small, it makes a smaller chunk and very easy for you to analyze. So if I come here and this is what filter is, meaning that it gives you that filter button to filter just what you only want. Okay. So then now at the moment it's saying all because everything is all selected. Now, if I click on this and then I just say, okay, I just want you to give me only for South. Okay. Now, remember, it would only click South, but there is no data yet. It's only selecting the region. So it works with every single thing. So yes, you have put something on the filter, but you've not put up any value or rows or anything. So let's say, for example, now, before we do this, I'm just going to take this one off and we would answer our questions. And then I think that would give us a clear picture of it. But before then, rows are, you obviously already know our rows are whatever you put here. Okay. If I put, for example, the product, I put it in rows, you can get to see that the products are here. Okay. Let me click on all and just so that everything comes up. A, B, C. You can take up the blanks. The blanks are there. So when you see blanks in your data set, it's because we don't have anything here. So it's still counting it and all that. So don't worry, you can just filter it off. So that's one good thing of putting some things on the filter. So I can just filter the blank off by taking off that check and say, okay, and you see it takes off that blank. It just makes your work much tidier. Now, these are what rows. You see that rows, Excel just works in tables and columns and rows, so it's just something you need to know. Then columns, you obviously know what columns are and all that. And then let's say I want to put things like, let's say gender. Okay, so I want to know maybe the sales amounts, sales for female and male and all that. And I'll just put that as value. And you can see that Excel does something for me here. It helps me to, let me just bring this a bit, female. Okay, so it tells me that maybe we've got three, for product A, female, a lot of females of 350. We've made the sales of 350, which were bought by females, and in product A we had 100. Maybe we sold $100. Most of it were bought by males. It helps you see, this is what Excel pivot table, it helps you analyze it. So look at this data now. When you look at this, it's hard to really tell what to make out of it, really. But you see, when you put it on pivot summary, it just summarizes the whole thing for you. It makes it very easy to understand that, okay, in product B, we've got this, we've got that, and this is the total. Now, if you want to filter this by region, okay, let's say, for example, I just want to see my clients who for male and female who have been buying my product. Let me see for East. And you can see that, okay, if we don't have any product we don't have product C, okay, you can call it maybe any name, but I just had to use product A, B, and C because I wouldn't want to mention any particular product and all that. So product A, we can see that in the East region, we've got the product A, we've got 200, we made $200 and they were all bought by females, and then 100 by males, and the product B 50, 75. So you see, it makes it clear. Now remember, if your field pivot field, if you don't see them on the right, don't worry, just click on this, it comes back, or you right click and just say click on field setting, and it will also pop out as well. Now that we now know how to use the filter, the column, and the row. So it depends on you. Pivot table, it's not, how will I say it? It's not structured in a particular way that you just have to follow some particular things for it to work. No, it's basically designing how you want the look to be. So I can decide, for example, maybe I want this to be here. I don't want any columns. So I want you to break it down for me, everything in rows. In product A, just give me female, male. So it depends on whatever you want. If I want, I can take my products. So it's just knowing what is the best way. I can try to do it like this. Oh, female in product, a lot of female bought 200 in my product. So at the end of the day, it just depends on how it's best for you to what do you call it? How best does what you do represent? So that's when that creativity comes in. Okay, which should I position that reflects the data that is very easy to understand, it's clear, and it also gives me the insight that I deserve, that I want. Okay, now that we've said that, I'm just gonna, so if you want to take off some field, maybe you put up a field wrongly and all that, just click on it, just click on the drop down and say remove field. It takes that field off. So we're going to take off the product and we're going to say remove field. It takes it off. Click on this. If you ever made a mistake you want to take off, you can just take it off, or you can just click here and just unmark, and it takes it off for you and return back to the Canva or the showroom board. Okay, now we understand on how to use pivot tables. Now what we're going to then do next is to practice on the questions that we're going to be using now. So the first question is, which product generated the highest sale in January 2022? So remember, it wants to know in January which product, whether A, B, or C, has the highest. So now we then know that this is the question. If maybe, for example, to keep you alert on what that question is of flipping through, you can just highlight, copy that question, come here, and you can name, you can maybe put it here. Let's see here the question, so that when you look at it, it keeps giving you that idea of what your question really is all about, so you don't forget. Okay, so once you're then done with that, all you now then need to do is you would come here and then you're going to select. So we now know that we need product. When you look at the question, we need product, we need our sales amount, and we need our month, right? Okay, so we would put the dates, okay, which would give us the month. We'll put that on filter because we're going to, there is already data. Do you want to press it? Yes. Okay. What happened is I put this, let me copy this off. This was going to overlap because I needed to put a filter. So I'm just going to put that, let's say I'm going to put that here. So because the filter always comes at the top of the table, so what it's trying to tell me that, oh, you put a word there, okay, so you need to take it off, or to just replace it if you want to keep on doing that. So one way you can actually put it, what you do is you select and then you just drag and put it to where you want to put it. So I'm going to put that there. Now remember that the question says for January, right? So we're going to filter the dates to only January dates. Okay, so you can see that they're all, well, the data are all January anyways. So if we've got February, all you now need to do is select only January and then don't put the rest of the other dates there. That's just all you need to do. And we say okay. So for now we're going to leave everything because everything are all January. You can see 01, 01, 01. So that's first, second, and third of all January. So that's fine. So we now know that our data set is fully January. There's no issue. Now, if you look at the question again, now we've answered this one. The next one we're going to be looking at is product. Okay, so let's put our product. Now, to put our product, click on this, and I'm going to drag my product. And now it's okay. I want my product to be on the row. Okay, so that it just tells me, A, B, and all that. And then when I look at the question as well, I'm going to, the next one is it wants to see the highest sales, right? Which product has the highest sale? All right, so I'm going to click on this and I'm going to say, okay, you know what, the sales amount, I'm going to put that on values. Make sure that it's saying sum, okay, and all that. Make sure it's saying sum. When it's sum, it totals everything off because there are different data types. You can sum or have, just make sure it's on sum, okay. Now, when you see that, we see that we've got this blank here. Do not worry, just come to the filter as well and just take off the blank and all that, and then okay. So we can see that this summarizes this whole table. If I'd asked that question now, it will be very hard to, maybe if you want to do it, you now have to start adding product A, B, all the A's and record. Start doing all the B's, record, do all the C's, record, and then start figuring out which one has the highest. Imagine you've got like thousands of rows. Come on, that would take a whole lot, right? But you can see that in less than a few seconds, okay, we've been able to generate the answer. So now we've answered the number one question. So we can now say that product A was the highest. We had a lot of sales of $450, in January, okay, for a period of 3 days in January. All right, now let's move to the second question. The second question, it says, what was the total sales revenue for each region, okay, in January? So now this one wants to know, the first one wanted to know about product. Now this one wants to know about for the region. Okay, so I'm just going to paste the question here just so that you don't have to do it like this. I'm just for for lecturing purposes, just to make things much easier, so that you can always read through the question and see what I'm doing, and that would make more, more sense. But you shouldn't just put your questions here and all that. I'm only just doing this for lecturing purposes, okay? So it's clear for everyone. Now, you don't need to come back here again and then go to pivot table and then select all the data and then get this pivot chart. Come on, you don't need to do that again. As far as you've done the first one, all you need to do is come here, select this, make sure you select everything, come to copy, right click, copy, find a new blank space, right click as well, and use this one, the first paste, not the one as value, not this one, but this first paste, and you paste it so it retains the same format. All you now need to then do is change the filter. So like I said, you can either just change it, or you can just remove, or just come here and uncheck, wherever one, and wherever that pleases you. See, it returns it back to normal. So now, to answer this question, it wants to know the total sales revenue for each region. Now we're going to put back the dates to filter. Okay, so we already know that we only have January dates, we don't have February dates, so that's fine. So no need to, all we just need to just take off the blank. Okay, if there was February or March or any other, this thing, we'll just take them off and then just only leave the ones that are January. So but for now, that's what we're going to do. And then if you look at the question again, it tells you, so we've answered this one again. We've answered the dates. The next one is want to know the region. Okay, so we're going to come here and then let's just say I want to put the region. Okay, let's use columns for this period, right? I want to use columns, for example, and then I want to know the and then I'm going to put up the filter. Remember, it's still retaining whatever formatting you did on the first one, so you always have to ensure that it's you adjust them back. And then I want to now then put the sales amount in values. So it depends on what you want. So you can decide to arrange it like this. So east is 425, south is 125. So it tells you, okay. So because now this gives you the product, but one way you want to get to know is basically what this is trying to help you understand is which region actually buys your product more. So you can see that the east gets to buy your product more, the eastern region, or wherever country you are, for example, gets to buy these products more. And what would that obviously tell you as a business person? It tells you that, okay, you need to focus more because you've got a lot of capacity there, you've got a lot of audience, you've got a lot of markets there. So you need to make sure you keep them happy, keep the products there and all that stuff. And then you can see, you can check the second is the west, and you can keep pumping, and then you see that the least is the south. It helps you now make businesses, organizations develop, okay, what are the things I can get to do to increase my south, which is 125, which is the lowest, to be hit a target that I want it to get it to, and that would help you increase that. So you can see what these are things as a data analyst. So you help analyze this data, and then you go to the board and you discuss with your managers, or you discuss with the board, and it's okay, from the data and this and that, this is what I have come up and this is what it has shown. So this is the fun thing, about data. It's really very exciting, very interesting. I'm just going to put it in on the rows because it looks much cleaner than the way it was, before. Okay, now that you're done with that one, let's move to the next question. The next question says, what was the average of customers who purchased products in January? Okay, very good question. You might be wondering, how do we calculate the average? Don't worry. You can also do that. You can use formulas and do it on your data, but pivot table will just do it quickly for you. So let's just come in and just paste that question just so that, it makes sense to you. But like I said, you don't need to be posting your questions here. And we're going to copy the same format here of the pivot table, and then we adjust them because we don't want to start going and be creating new pivot tables in new sheets, and we just want to keep everything nicely. So you can either put your pivot table here, or you can arrange it, this way and all that, in a row form, or you can put them in columns. I'm just putting them in rows, just because in columns rather, just because I want so that the names, the question can be on the right, and then what I'm doing be on the left, just for you to understand what I'm doing. Okay, but if I'm taking this as a project, I will arrange them nicely, and I wouldn't have to put these questions here because I'll be able to know exactly what I'm working on. So I'm going to right click and then paste. Okay. And then if you ever want to adjust, move your this thing, just click on it. Once this move sign, the 4 cross sign shows, you can just move it to whatever cell you want it to move it to, and then it will just follow along as well. All right. So now that we've done it, let me just bold this so that that's a question. Okay, so I'm just going to increase this, just for anyone who can't see this clearly. Okay, just for anyone who can't see this clearly. All right. Now that we've got this, okay, we now want to know the average of customer who purchased products in January. So let's just take off this one, okay, and then just redo, put the right ones that we need. Okay, I need dates. I'm going to leave the date. I also need, yeah, I'm just going to take this one off first of all. Okay, so you check again. Is the all January? Yes, that's fine. We've answered this date side. Now we're going to move to product A. Okay, now for you to get product A, we're going to drag this down to row. Remember, it only wants product A. It doesn't want B and C from the questions. We're going to untick B. We're going to untick C. And we're going to say we just want product A. Okay, so it selects whatever it will give us will only just be for product A. Now, the third one is that it wants to know the average age, the average of the age of a customer. Okay, that's the third criteria that has purchased the product A in January. Okay, now we're going to move to the age. This is the customer age. We're going to put that here as value. Now, this is sum. The sum is just calculating everybody in product A and summing it up. But in this particular question, it doesn't want to know the total, the sum. It wants to just have an average idea of like the ages that come. So all you need to do is see this drop down here. Click on it because we want to change that sum. Now we're going to come here to value field setting. And you can see average, you can see count, you can see max, meaning products. But for the question, it wants age. So we're just going to come here and say, click on average. And you see it changes to average of customer age. And we're going to say, okay. So it tells you that the average of customers who buy this product is 36.6. So we can just decide to make this to say, if you want to make, because now it's got like several digits, we just want to make it like maybe, for example, 2-digit number. We're going to delete. You come here, this is to add, this is to delete. So we're going to delete, and just leave it at 2 decimal places, and that's 37.6. Come here as well and just do that as well. And that's 37.6. So you see, it tells you that an average of 37, if you want to approximate, then 38, are your average customer who tends to buy your product. Now, if you look at your data sets, you can see that you have 35, 42, 28, 50, so you can see it takes an average of everyone in product A, and you can see product A has 35, product A has 50, product A has 28. So it takes an average and then gives you the average age. So now you've answered the question. So it now knows that, oh, okay, so for product A, we tend to have a lot of mid or maybe late 30s who tends to buy our products more. It also helps you in your marketing area and know the targets on where you should be targeting more on that particular product, which particular customer based on age group tends to buy that product more. Okay, now the last question is how many male and female customers made purchases in January? Okay, so we're just going to just copy this as well, come down, and then let me just paste this here. Okay, just so that, like I said, for reference, so that when I'm doing, you can look at the questions and it would make a lot of sense. And I'm just going to copy this, because like I said, I don't want to create a new one or in a new sheet or even in the same existing sheet and just go through that whole process. So I'm just going to copy paste. So I'm just going to right click and click on this. And I'm just going to, leave the dates because I would obviously need a date. I'm just going to take off this one. So right click, or you can just take it off from here, anyone, anyways. Now that we have fulfilled this January one to make sure that it's in January. So yes, it's only January data. Now, what we now then need to do is analyze what is it trying to ask us. So how many male and female customers made purchases, okay, that bought something, all right? So we're going to use gender, the customer gender. Okay, and we're going to also use the sales because it's something that, that was sold, that bought, right? So we're going to put that in value. Value is, whatever the value of, this, whether sales or whatever of what you're trying to show. Okay, so we're going to put that. Make sure that the value is saying sum, because in this one, we want to know the sum because it's a total of something, right? So we can also see here that female, we had for females, we have 550. We made $550 from the females, our female customers, and male to 275. So it helps us to understand that, okay, so it seems like we tend, our products, across all our products, because it didn't specify which of the products, is it A, B, or C, which gender tends to buy things more. So, but you can obviously do that. If you want to do that, you can do that. It's not an issue. So if you want to know, let's say you want to know which product they tend to buy more, I can decide to either put this on the column, and I can see that, okay, it seems that the female tends to buy products more, and things like that. And remember, this is just only for product A. I can just click the B and C, and I can get to also know the whole product and get to know, okay, in product A, female, B, C. So it helps you obviously know exactly what you're looking for. So yeah, I hope this was very interesting. So you have been able to understand on how to work with sales data set. These are just few things you could work with a sales data set, but we're focusing more on using a sales data set in creating pivot tables and then answering questions that come up from your data. And one of the things we would now then move next would be to discuss on something else again, and then we would also practicalize on how to actually use the data sets and then convert them to become charts, okay, to do the pivot charts and all that stuff. So we would end this one here, and I'll see you in the next lesson.